you buy 5 or 6 years earlier, knowing that you're going to have to wait 5 or 6 years to get the capital growth, if you can buy at 7 o'clock and get the whole growth that's due for that full cycle in 1/3 of the time. Once you know about 7 o'clock markets and this 2/3, 1/3 phenomenon, I guarantee you, you'll never be able to buy anywhere but 7 o'clock again. Look, understanding the property cycles, the booms and correction periods, this roller coaster ride to a C grade investor can be pretty daunting. But what an A grade investor sees is predictability over time, and particularly ideal times to buy. Perfect periods in those property cycles to target great buying periods, just positioned for growth, entering the best third of a property stage. And when the properties get to the peak of the cycle, instead of selling, we don't sell unless we really have to. Instead of selling, we just cash in on the equity. As all the fruit appears on those fruit trees, how can we take some of that equity? How can we take some of that fruit and go and buy more properties? The goal would be to buy at 7 o'clock, and by the time you get to 12, to have enough fruit on the trees to be able to buy multiples of properties. Now, of course, you're not going to buy them in that same market. Those markets are now peaking. You'll take, the benefits, the fruit off the trees at the peak of the market, and go looking for other 7 o'clock property markets. This is one of the key fundamental strategies of duplication, and one of the cornerstone strategies of the whole lunch money model. A model that's proving just so doable by so many Australians. Let me give you some examples. Have a look at Dean and Tina's situation. They were a young couple. A lot of people probably wouldn't even thought about being property investors at this age, but Dean and Tina got it. They understood that the sooner they set themselves up, the quicker or the greater the leverage would be over time. The more the compounding capital growth of properties would really set them up for an incredible retirement future. Now, the reality was Dean and Tina were in a situation where they're thinking about having a baby. Tina wanted to stop working in the career that she was working in, so they had to get this portfolio set up before they made major changes to their career path. We helped them understand the basics of street smart property investing to get their tax money back, utilise their super funds. They did set up their own self-managed super fund. They did buy one of these properties inside of their self-managed super fund. The other property is one that's offset mostly by their tax, and when they first purchased that property, it was $7 a week out of their pocket. I believe that property's now gone cash flow positive, so they added 2 properties using just $1, and I'm sure there's no impact on their pocket these days, and they're definitely set, even if they don't add one more property between now and retirement, still quite a way off in the future, they're definitely set up to be one of the 1% of people that retire financially free, definitely, and they may be able to do it 10 or 15 years earlier than most couples ever would dream of. So that's Dean and Tina's situation. A young couple is definitely able to make this model work. Denise is a different situation. Denise came out from South Africa with a husband, had to leave quite a bit of wealth behind. Denise decided, you know what, we need to up our game. We really need to prepare to have the sort of retirement we want. And so she decided to be a little bit aggressive. Now, we've helped her now secure up to 5 properties using this model. She's got 3 already, 2 more under construction. She used $3 to secure the first 3. $2 more, I believe, are being used to secure the other 2 that are under construction. And she's got an incredible situation happening. Faye's a great story. Faye Roberts is a lady who confided in me about 5.5 years ago that she had one investment property and some pretty average shares and other little investments that she had, and all of which were costing her $1,700 a month to service. Now, this was a really big strain on Faye's family. She was going without so much, and with tears in her eyes, she confided in me that she just couldn't keep going the way that she was. Now, I sat down and had a look at her situation. We came up with a game plan together, and she's been a star student. She's turned into a really great, very, very smart property investor. She's now added, just in the last 5 years, she's added a total of 6 additional properties. She went on to buy a family home. At the start, she didn't own a family home. She had the one investment property, no family home. And for those of you that are sitting back going, can I do this if I don't have equity in a family home? We need to really weigh this up. There's a number of ways to approach this strategy, and we can get to that a little bit later. investor. But Faye's situation was she didn't own a family home. She had one investment property. We helped her add 6 additional properties. She sent a whole portfolio cash flow positive. Instead of $1,700 a month of negative cash flow, she's now got positive cash flow, and she is a champion investor. She has really got the hang of the lunch money model and doing some fantastic stuff. Faye was featured recently in one of the national property magazines. Her story has become, a real eye-opener for many mum and dad investors that probably sitting around going, can I even do this? And she is living proof it can be done, and in a fraction of the time that most people would think. That's Faye Roberts' situation. The other person I want to draw your attention to is Kerry. Kerry's a property investor. She's a very clever property investor. She already had a nice little portfolio. Now, Kerry's situation was she had a number of properties that kind of had ripped on the handbrake. Her growth hadn't been what she hoped. Her cash flow may not have been as good as she hoped. And she knew there was a little bit better model out there. She knew that she could do better. When she discovered the lunch money model, the penny dropped. Straight away, she was like, wow, this is exactly the model I've been looking for. We've helped her add 7 additional properties in the last few years. She's only used $4 out of her pocket to secure 7 properties. So she's got an incredible little portfolio growing. She's cash flow positive, and she's another person that's been recently featured in one of the national property magazines as well. John Cole, what a story. John Cole is actually a corporate guy, a busy corporate guy. And John's situation was when he first came to me, or he's actually introduced by a banking executive who knew John. Knew John was a clever man. He's a corporate guy with a great, sort of corporate job role. And he met John and said to John, wow, John described his property portfolio, the pain he was experiencing, the slow growth he was getting from the properties he had purchased. I think he'd probably been a little bit stitched up by the property spruikers, by the sales groups. He'd bought in slow growth areas. The numbers weren't great. When our mutual friend got talking to John, he said, well, you got to sit down with Phil Anderson. Sit down with him. Go and meet him. And he did the introduction, and I did. We caught up and had a great chat. We turned the whole situation around. Now, this has just been in the last 3 years. John's gone on to add a number of properties. He's added 7 properties using this model, only $5 out of his pocket, $5 deposit out of his pocket. The whole portfolio is cash flow positive. He's turned his whole situation around. He is a champion investor. I believe at the moment he's up to his 8th or 9th property that he's now negotiating using this model. So within 3 to 5 years, I believe he'll hit double figures, all cash flow positive, all using hardly any money out of his pocket. He is he's turned into an incredibly strong property investor. He also was featured in a national magazine recently. We're getting regular features these days. We've got, obviously hundreds of members, and as these members are starting to get incredible results, the property magazines want to know all about it. Now, for you moving forward, I hope today's presentation has given you a great insight into the impact our choices make on our lives, particularly our retirement futures. If we decide to do nothing, what will our retirements look like? Will we need to sell our family homes? Will we exhaust our super balances in 6 or 7 years and need to go back to living on government pensions? And if we decide to buy and hope, the old school model, will we be left with big holding costs, disappointing performances of our properties, and not as great a retirement, lifestyle as we probably really do deserve? Alternatively, we can take control. Today's property investors, the new school way of looking at property investing is about taking control, getting it back to a recipe to give you the success and give you the outcome that you really do deserve. That's what this lunch money property investing model is all about. It's about getting it back to a recipe that we can all use, the most doable property investment model in Australia today to help us take back control of our financial future. And as promised, not only is this model incredibly doable, the system behind it is incredibly affordable as well. I've been putting this model together for more than 20 years. From experience, I've learned so many lessons, and I've really decided to put it all together in one complete property game plan package. I just wanted to make sure everyone that came through my program was able to take away not just generalized examples of what to do, but also walk away with their own specific property game plan. Look, I don't believe this model is like anything else that's out there at the moment. Most programs, like I said, they're generalized. They'll give you an idea as to what's possible, but most people do walk away going, how could I make that work for me? I wanted to do things quite differently. This is my lunch money property investing system. I'm incredibly proud of it, and I believe it delivers some fantastic results. I've proven it with hundreds and hundreds of people so far. It starts with a pre-coaching component where you will basically have, a coach that will reach out to you very soon. From the moment you come on board, a coach will start helping prepare you for the live training. During the pre-coaching component, we want to make sure that we help you establish your vision. How long it is until you want to retire, how much per year you'd like to have in retirement, how